Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to another edition of the EKN Debrief. It is episode number 115, Wednesday, August the 2nd, 2023. My name is Rob Howden. David Cole, of course, on the show as well as we get set to do a deep dive into the 2023 capper of the Superkarts USA Pro Tour, the SummerNationals at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Yeah, you're laughing at that, aren't you, Davey?
Yeah, sorry.
I got it. I'm on it. Summer Nationals at Newcastle Motorsports Park this past weekend, July 27th to 30th. Rounds 5 and 6 of the 6-round championship. We'll dive into it. Before we do, let's present the sponsor of today's show, Acceleration Kart Racing. Acceleration Kart Racing has everything you need to go racing, from tires to helmets. They have a great website for you to order from, and kart racers ready to pick up the phone and answer your questions 6 days a week. With over 20 years of kart racing under their belts, Acceleration Kart Racing has the experience to help you succeed on track. You can rely on them to get the parts you need when you need them. Make Acceleration Kart Racing your go-to source for everything karting. Head to www.shopakr.com. Okay, big shout out to Acceleration Karting. And David, if I'm not mistaken, I just saw on social media, I think we tweeted it out or shared it, that they got a bunch more stuff in stock right now. Acceleration, right? Briggs engines, Microns, you name it.
Briggs engines, Microns, and then package that up with some of the in-stock four-cycle chassis they have available, and you can save some money.
That's it. I saw that. I literally just saw that before we came on. So that's good. Yeah, Acceleration with Briggs 206s back in stock. Let's dive into this, Dave. Superkarts USA Summer Nationals. Great weekend in terms of competition. Unbelievably close championships. Old school shifter kart racing, especially the Masters category with guys up front, battling back and forth. It was some amazing racing there. Bottom line is they wrapped up the 14th edition of this championship series. It started all the way back in 2010. They'll look forward now to celebrating the 15th edition of the Pro Tour next year. Pretty humid weekend. I can tell you this from a guy who was behind the wheel in the driver's seat all weekend. It was hot.
I believe you lost weight over the weekend.
I actually didn't, because I ate a lot of food during the weekend.
Well, I don't need, but yeah, but you were pretty close there on weight there on Sunday.
I was
after final.
I had a 5-pound weight on the cart. That was it. And I think I came across the line I was actually 394 coming across the line. We filled her up pretty good with fuel before the main event on Sunday.
Yeah, it was, you walked out of a building and you just began to sweat. So that was the feeling Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday was a little bit better in terms of the humidity percentage, but, still pretty a warm day, with temperatures nearing the 90 degree. I think we were only in the 85 as for a high, but really the focus was the precipitation and the storms that hit the area. Friday, we had a delay for lightning, so that stopped practice for a little bit.
Yeah, like right after my session, David, because I remember coming down the straightaway from I-70 down into the scoreboard corner, and a huge lightning bolt was right in front of me. It was far enough away we didn't go immediately red, but yeah, I saw a big lightning bolt. I knew we were going to be delaying before it was all said and done.
Yeah, I think X30 Junior went on track, and the lightning got closer and closer, so they delayed things. And then once the lightning was gone, some people took advantage of the wet weather or wet track, so got on track and got some wet laps before it eventually dried out for the remainder of the day. But it was a Saturday morning storm that rolled through the area that really just wreaked havoc on the paddock, tearing up a number of tents and easy ups and put damaging equipment under those tents as well. So Superkarts USA did the good thing of putting in a 2-hour delay to start things off. So we didn't start till 10 a.m., allowing those who did suffer damage to get time to get set up, readjusted, figure everything out. Like Magic Kart USA, they actually moved all of their stuff under the
it's like a pavilion kind of a thing,
the pavilion, yes, that is there alongside the grid. So so a lot of teams chipped in. It was, again, the good part of karting, everybody's willing to chip in, help out where needed, providing easy ups, equipment, whatever anybody needed. The paddock was there to help those that needed any assistance. So thankfully we got through that. It was made for a long day, because we didn't realize it until arriving to the racetrack, because we didn't have the alert set on our phones yet. So made for a long day, but we got through it. Everybody, bounced back and And Sunday was a cleaner day in terms of schedule. We got through the schedule much better. And again, with the better weather, not as humid, not as hot. So
yeah, shout out, David, to all those teams. Like you said, when we did arrive, kind of came around the corner from Rawlson Performance Group over by the scales where Speed Concepts Racing was set up. And by the time I got there to see the kind of, to kind of have a look at the carnage myself, Mike Rawlson was already there with a bunch of the Rawlson Performance Group guys. I think the entire team from GFC, Gary Carlton was there. His guys were there. Everybody was jumping in. I know when it was all said and done, Chad Dawkin came over to talk with a couple of guys from SCR saying, hey, listen, don't throw your stuff out. I know guys that can fix your tents, that can fix your, the actual awning steel, the aluminum parts of the awning. So, man, everybody was just jumping in. And that, like you said, Dave, just to put a cap on that, and you had mentioned it to me at one point too, it was just cool to see of all the battling, of all, these guys can be screaming and yelling at each other at the scales or on the sidelines. But when it all comes down to it, when push comes to the shove, the karting community is a family, and they most definitely stepped up for each other on Saturday morning.
Yeah, and really two sections. It was kind of that area where Speed Concepts was, and then in the back area were Magic Kart USA, Super Tune USA, Factory Karts,
the Marinello guys as well.
Tesoro Raceworks completely lost their tent. So they worked all weekend without, or all Saturday and Sunday without tents in the back part there. So, a number of people. So again, everybody was helping each other out when they could, but it was really just the two sections. It almost like, the wind bounced off certain trailers and buildings and just funneled its way through certain sections of the paddock.
Yeah. Let's jump into the numbers as we always do. The Winter Nationals kicked things off in Orlando with 226 entries, dipping down to 187 on the Trek West to Utah for the Spring Nats. And then 206, I think we were, David, as the pre-entry coming into the Summer Nationals. 10 walk-ups. You never know if there's any cancellations as well. They ended up with 216. So actually a pretty solid total to cap off the Summer Nationals. Good numbers in the cadet categories, 24 and 32 in micro and mini respectively. Again, we hope to get 10 drivers in the KA100 Master. We ended up with 8, but it was fun to have those Masters guys out there. And we really, I had a great time with the guys. They were just a really good group of guys to run with. But then again, we saw the 47 strong in KA100 Junior, which was great, and 24 pro shifters, the most pro shifters on the year, 24 in total. And that was some great racing for sure. Yeah,
it's the summer race has been kind of the shifter race. Midwest still has racers that are involved, and Newcastle certainly helps. Bring people from Texas like Chris Jennings in master shifter. So because that was the largest we've seen with 10 in that category as well too. So 34 shifters in total. They actually split them up for the main events. So that helped out, with, the Masters drivers not getting in the way of pro shifter or losing laps because they're getting black flagged off.
Agreed. Yeah.
So that certainly helped with that. So kind of put a focus on them, and really both days was a great race in that category. And of course, pro shifter drama was just probably one of the best we've seen in the 14-year history of the Pro Tour.
Literally the championship came down to the final lap. A couple of passes, just like the championship going back and forth. Xander and I thought we had it locked for Billy Musgrave. He got passed by Talon Yockel. We'll get to that, but just seven points separate the top 4 drivers in pro shifter at the end of the season. Amazing. Loved it.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Overall
with the numbers, again, 200, that's where you want to be over that mark. We had 56 cadet racers there. So again, strong number in that.
Yeah.
Even though X30 Junior was only at 14, it was still great racing, and we saw a couple of drivers make their debut in that class. So again, it's almost like the all-star class, almost the all-star division for junior racing is the X30 Junior category. So
yeah, and looking at it, right, Micro Swift matching its best at 24. Mini Swift was middle, they had 42 to start out with, right? You go to KA100 Junior, most KA100 Juniors on the season for the Pro Tour at 47. Just one down to KA100 Senior. They were 34 in Utah, 33 at Newcastle. The most pro shifters and the most master shifters. So there was a number of categories that had the most drivers on the weekend. So all told, I think a pretty successful Summer Nationals for Scooter to cap off the 14th edition of the program.
Yeah, great exclamation point for the season, and looking ahead to what they keep anticipating to be one of the largest Super Nationals ahead. So the numbers keep building, so it's good.
Yeah,
good
love
momentum.
It. All right, first commercial break, folks. We'll get back. Time to dive into the Panic Pass. David was busy on the Thursday and Friday, getting all that information. We'll go over that when we get back. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. Trackside support and arrive and drive programs at many of karting's biggest East Coast events, full product sales and service, and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group is an official Kart Republic race team, providing full trackside support at all the major USA karting events, including the SCUSA Pro Tour, United States Pro Kart Series, SCUSA SuperNationals 25, and other events throughout the 2022 season. TKG has in stock Kart Republic, IAME, MG and Avinco tires, and more products for those in Ohio and the Midwest region. Trinity Karting Group has a long history of the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. It all started in my parents' garage. That's the foundation for MPG Motorsports, which grew from a small home garage in Indiana into one of the top race teams and kart shops in the industry. A true passion for motorsports runs deep in the DNA of MPG, which has developed strong connections within karting. Now based at the Whiteland Raceway Park in central Indiana, MPG Motorsports offers a wide range of opportunities through its race team while providing a full-service kart shop as an official dealer for the Kart Republic brand. The MPG Motorsports race team is led by ownership partner and karting champion Chase Jones and provides full trackside service and driver development. Be part of the MPG program at the USPKS, Stars Championship Series, and Route 66 Sprint Series events with arrive and drive opportunities available at those programs, as well as at the Whiteland Club races this season. A new 3,500 square foot shop is now open at the Whiteland Raceway Park in Whiteland, Indiana, and is the new home of MPG Motorsports. This new headquarters will provide local and regional racers with a full-service race shop that provides a wide range of parts and supplies to racers, including the full chassis line of the Kart Republic brand. For more, head to mpg-motorsports.com and follow us on social media. Let MPG Motorsports take your motorsports career in the direction of your choice. History, success, family. Those are the three words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Welcome back to episode number 115 of the EKN Debrief. Rob Howden alongside David Coles. We're talking about the Superkarts USA Summer Nationals final round of the Pro Tour at Newcastle Motorsports Park this past weekend. Time to jump into the Paddock Pass, having gotten things underway in the opening segment. Today's Paddock Pass presented by Odenthal Racing Products. Motor mounts are critical in optimizing 100% of your engine's power to get you on the podium each and every time you hit the track. Odenthal best motor mounts in the karting market today. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience, and they provide products with unmatched quality and value for the karting market. Check out their Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines and their 4-cycle Easy Set for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing products made in the USA. All right, David, you rolled out 5 pretty cool bits there for Paddock Pass on Thursday and Friday. Let's dive into it a little bit.
Yeah, one of the first topics I did was national or reverse. We just came off the USPKS weekend that was on the national layout. Superkarts USA utilizing the national reverse layout for the second straight year. So kind of get a feel for the top level drivers, what they thought and which they preferred. And it was unique in the X30 senior category. It was 1 preferred the national and 4 preferred the reverse direction. So that was right. And then in Pro Shifter, it was split 2-3. So two of the drivers selecting the national layout and 3 selecting the reverse. So I think the reverse pretty much has the advantage in terms of the preferred layout. And looking at just a small pool of 10 drivers that we took, but for us, you drove it and I haven't driven it, but just the watching it and the way it racing unfolds with it, I think the reverse direction is almost the way to go now at Newcastle.
It's interesting because I've driven most of the national, obviously running the CKNA Grand Nationals, but for a little bit of a change. I don't know that I would lean either way or the other, to be honest with you. And I've run them in different karts, obviously, but maybe the same machinery, I'd have a different opinion. But I think they both have their merits, right? And I think you're 3-7, right? 30% in those 10 people you talk to like national, 70% like reverse. I think the big difference, David, is the way they race, right? Because it's all about the finish and kind of cut, the last moves you make, right? If you're running national, you've got you've got the run all the way, into the what do you call it? The scoreboard corner, the big run down to I-70, and then the big drag race to the line. You don't have that when you're going reverse, right? That's early in the lap. Everything else is kind of stacked into the second half of that racetrack.
And because the track is designed as the national layout, when you go in reverse, there's no curbing on exits. So that was one of the.
I know.
That was so the one driver who picked national was Harley Keeble for Sodi Racing USA. Okay. He said unless they put in exit curbs, it would be 100% reverse. But because they don't, it's national. So here's a guy, international driver, used to curbing, right? Yep. Where here in the US, we didn't have curbing for the longest time.
True.
Curbing was something that was like just never utilized on especially old school racetracks. Like you look at, Badger and South Bend, a lot of them didn't even begin with curbing and they eventually put them in. And really the curbing at Newcastle used to be just dragon teeth and nobody wanted to touch those things.
That's right. Stay away from that. Right.
Right. So, and Brian Norberg stated this on the weekend as well, too. He likes the reverse because there is no curbing, because there's no room for error. If you make a mistake, you're dropping a wheel. So
that's very
true. There's that side of things. And on the flip side, you talk to Martin Kremers, he likes reverse and shifter, but in single speed, he likes it in national. So, so that's the unique part of it. And then you have the wild cards like Billy Musgrave. He said he prefers a super mile with a ski jump, but
he liked the super mile. Yeah.
Well, I said that wasn't an option, so you had to pick one or the other. So,
hey, one of the big.
I'm not a fan of the ski jump. I'll say that. I like the idea of watching.
Did you run
karts.
the ski? Have you run the ski jump?
Yeah, we did it at the
year I wasn't there. I don't think I did it.
Yeah, you didn't run that. That's correct. Yeah, because you've only been there twice.
Yeah.
I was not a fan. I mean, although it does set up for a good passing opportunity when you come back onto the regular racetrack. It just I don't know. It just seemed like, especially in Briggs racing, there's not a lot of drivers who pay attention to what's going on, including masters. And you go over that, and they just have no clue of what's on the other side. So,
hey, listen, one of the things you did on the weekend as well, obviously some time before we really got into, crazy busy racing, you had a chance to talk with Neil Strickland and some guys from SCUSA. What did you dig up regarding 2024?
I wasn't able to dig up very much of anything.
All right.
They're kind of keeping keeping the lips sealed on exactly what racetracks they're planning on for 2024. But they hope to have things kind of finalized in the next couple of weeks to be able to announce where they're going to be going. Obviously they still have a relationship with Newcastle Motorsports Park, so that's still going to be on the schedule for 2024. And again, they're looking at the options they have down for the SCUSA Winter Series program. That's now 3 events, but also continuing with the 3 Pro Tour events. So 6 races they have basically on the quote unquote national schedule next year that you got to figure Newcastle's at least one of them. I don't think it's going to be in January, but it'll be one of the races. So that'll be interesting. And also talked with Eric Jones of IAME USA East. They're all in on the IAME Grand National Championship program for 2024.
Okay.
He's in the early stages of planning for that. So obviously the schedule's starting to fill up really quick, but the support that they have with the event at Trackhouse Motorplex is strong. So they're looking at where they're going to be able to fit that in.
Yeah, listen, it's old school. You go back to the start of the IKF Grand Nationals, whatever it may be, WK Grand Nationals. People like one-off races. There's something about one-off races too, right? You want to run a national series, you want to go for a big championship, but that one-off you can just go in and leave as the number one guy. That's something that's happened for decades in the sport.
Well, plus they have unique, the shootout races, so
they definitely
it's
make
something
it unique.
different. Yeah. It's not another race. So that again, just like Supernats, it's not another race. It's Supernats. And
it's the Supernats. That's
WK
exactly
Daytona
right.
Kart Week. It's not another race. It's Daytona. So, when you have an event at like Trackhouse Motorplex where there's karts on track every single day of the week, it's something unique with having those shootouts at night and racing under the lights. So again, you got to have something that kind of helps stand out. And
let's move to the next one. I agree with you 100%. One of the cool things that happened this weekend, and obviously, I was kind of brought in to help see if we can get some guys come run the KA 100 Master Class. One of the guys that was supposed to come but couldn't because of an issue back at the track was Sean Bailiff. He was going to come out and run. I was really looking forward to running against Sean, but he was also able to convince Adam Pettit to come run in the KA 100 Master category. We've seen him many years in the national level Masters class with his Solo Kart USA program, but they've really, obviously Adam and his son Travis jumping into with Trinity Karting Group, and that's the whole connection with Sean Bailiff. That was a really cool weekend. Adam Pettit racing in the KA 100 Masters. Travis, of course, had some great success, ended up winning on Sunday in his category, the Mini Swift class. But to have the father and son weekend, both those guys under the tent. I know that Adam only ran on Saturday, but not on Sunday. Wanted to focus on being there for Travis, but it was just so cool to see them both there.
Yeah, it's tough to do that. That's probably why it never hasn't happened before. I think when Travis probably first started, I think they said, well, Adam hadn't been in the seat for 2 years, so that was part of the deal, because he's turned his focus on Travis's program. So again, it's not something you see a lot at the national level. I know we have in the past, like the Lane father and son with Josh and Lance, but you don't see that very too often because the parents they're all in on what the kids'
100%
performances are. And again, if the schedule was a little bit different, if they weren't back to back, it might have been a little bit easier for Travis to do that or for Adam to do it. But having your race, your class, and then Mini Swift, right? Or Mini Swift was right before you guys, so
right before we were on the grid.
A little more difficult for you guys, for him to do that.
Well, poor Adam sitting there watching it from the sidelines, right? Just losing it. And that's why when we rolled up on Sunday,
to be honest, I think he does that no matter what.
I think so too. Well, I was just going to say on Sunday when he didn't run, he was at the far end of the grid. We're all getting ready to go up on the front of the grid. He's at the far end of the grid. And I'm watching him just absolutely pacing, going back and forth. And then when Travis, of course, came for the win, he was bent over, hand in his heads. He was just the emotion of the father watching the son get that first big national win was big. And that's just so many layers of having the Pettits there. First off, Adam racing with Travis on the same weekend. Then, of course, Travis having the ultimate success on Sunday. Really, really cool. And obviously Adam's such a great guy. And so is Travis is such a cool young kid too. It was awesome to see.
It was, yeah. I mean, that's what karting is about, having fun at the racetrack, but also, enjoying the success that you do earn.
That's it. One of the big things we were watching all weekend long was Keelan Harvick. David making his X30 Junior debut. He's obviously done well in the micro and mini categories over the last couple of years. Been racing overseas a bit, but at 11 years of age, he makes his debut in junior, and he was very quick. No doubt about that.
Yeah, he made it his first start at the IMA USA Grand National Championship. So this was his first SCUSA weekend
debut.
With in the X30 Junior category. So it's a unique situation. He certainly has been putting in a lot of laps, racing in Europe in the mini category, WSK and any other events that they can get on the schedule, but also coming back over here to race in the Legends car and get some of that oval experience under his belt to help him in his progression up the motorsports ranks. But, jumping in the X30 Junior category is something unique. It's a full size kart. So hopefully he's going to grow a couple more inches, because the unique part, I don't know if you saw it, Rob, was the pedal extensions.
Yeah,
so
the pedal extensions
with Rolliston Performance Group and Jonathan Kotick, still working with him as a driver coach, but also Brady Ager as the mechanic. So, that was unique. They're still looking at trying to fine tune the pedal extensions to make it feel more comfortable. But yeah, hopefully he goes through a growing spurt. They think he is, because he's eating and sleeping a lot. So, so they hope to see him grow at least a few more inches to make that the pedal extensions a little bit better.
Oh, it's funny because I talked to Delana under the tent for a bit, and we were talking about the fact that both her and Kevin are drilling it into Keelan that he's got to get in the gym, he's got to get stronger, right? That's one of the biggest things, going from that smaller kart, smaller wheelbase, to a full size junior kart. His arms were tired, I guess, after the Grand Nationals down at Trackhouse. He was wore out. The arms were tired, and and she knows it. And I told him, I said, listen, every step up the ranks, you're going to have to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So, hopefully, number one, he's eating a lot of food, getting a lot of sleep, hitting the gym as well, because it ain't easy driving an X30 Junior. I'll tell you that.
Just driving X30 period. I mean, look at you Masters guys. You're bailing out on the 125s. You got to go 100 cc.
I have to. My God, yeah. Speaking of K100 Juniors, we talked about it a little earlier. Aspen Green for Green. They were the biggest category, so they got the nod for the Aspen Green for Green for K100 Junior. And dude, that's a lot of cash up for grabs. $6,000 spread over the combined results over the 2 days, right?
Yeah, it was $6,000 for combining the weekend total. $3,000 to the winner, $2,000 to second, and $1,000 to first. But they had to have the Aspen shirt on Sunday for the podiums, which all three drivers did.
They did, yeah.
So it was good prize money put out there.
Yeah, Ernesto Rivera walking away with the big cash. It was Ernesto Rivera, Max Taylor, and Diego Ardiles were the three drivers, right? I think we're overall in that category, I believe.
I believe so. Yes, I know it was all Cosmic or RPG drivers.
Yeah, RPG.
I think that's what it was.
$6,000. Big shout out to Aspen Fuels for putting that money in for the Green for Green, and good job for K100 Junior. Of course, lots of success and popularity in that category. All right, so we've got things rolling with the intro. Talked about the by the numbers, laid out David's paddock pass. When we get back after this break, time to dive into the race report. We'll go X30 Senior, Pro Shifter, and KA100 Senior after this break. It's a multi-time world champion, and it's a Superkarts USA SummerNationals winner. It is Sodikart. And starting in 2023, the Sodi brand has found a new home here in the U.S. Sodi Racing USA is the new exclusive importer of the Sodikart chassis line under the karting distribution banner, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Sodikart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers product in classes from Mini to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has already begun establishing its dealer network, working with the Karting Collective on the West Coast and recently signing PK Sport to serve as a dealer and the official race team on the East Coast. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Sodikart chassis line or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodikart, the world leader in the karting industry. The new face of competitive karting in the Pacific Northwest region is RaceLab. The full-service karting operation is located at the state-of-the-art Kartplex facility in Oliver, British Columbia, Canada, providing everything you need to hit the track or put yourself in a successful driver development program. RaceLab is the official North American distributor for the TB Kart chassis brand, providing the full range of models from kid kart to shifter kart. Villeneuve Racing Karts is their flagship product, available only through RaceLab. The brand carries the name of Formula One champion and Indianapolis 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve, with each model produced by TB Kart. Kartplex, the home of RaceLab, is situated on the grounds of the Area 27 Motorsports Park. From full arrive and drive TB Kart rentals to leagues and competition karting, the facility provides a new home to developing the future stars of motorsports, all beginning at Kartplex with RaceLab. Follow RaceLab on social media on Facebook and Instagram, or load up their website at www.theracelab.ca to learn more about TB Kart and Villeneuve Racing Karts. RaceLab. Race with us, win with us. "2019 marked a new era for the KartLift brand. The company that Tim Coyne owned and operated since 2003, one with a long tradition of quality products for the karting industry, was purchased by Ted Fashing and his business, Stockholm Karting Center, in October of 2019. Stockholm Karting Center Inc. has added the KartLift brand to their very successful Triple T Race Products brand that has been fabricating parts for the drag racing industry for the past 25 years. We're small enough where the owner answers the phone and every call is important to us, but we're large enough to get the job done. We pride ourselves on the quality and personal customer service that we provide on the phone or at the track. KartLift stands, as you know, can be found at racetracks all over the country. If you race alone, or if you're a parent with a cadet or junior driver, let our one-man winch lift make your race days easier. Position the hooks under the rear bumper, push the button, and your cart is raised into position and you're ready to go. We have traditional cart stands, single upright storage stands, KartLift stackers for storing 2 carts at once, tire changers, and skid plate kits. KartLift stands are available at the finest kart shops around the country, or you can order online at kartlift.com. For more information, give us a call at 877-777-8020. That's 877-777-8020. Get a KartLift and leave your crew at home. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network and the EKN Podcast Program. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, episode 115. It's August the 2nd, talking about the Superkarts USA Summer Nationals, the finale of the Pro Tour for 2023, held this past weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Time to jump into the race report, presented today by Blaze Coaching. Take your performance behind the wheel to the next level with Blaze Coaching. Utilize Blaze's online one-on-one coaching program from pro race car drivers and karting superstars. They will develop a personalized program for you with direct connection to your coach through onboard video reviews to help you gain those extra tenths and reach your goals on the track. Any kart, any circuit, when and where you need it. Blaze will be there to help. Start getting faster today by visiting blaze.io/karting. Again, big thank you to Blaze Coaching for being one of our sponsors of this podcast show. David, let's jump into X30 Senior, presented by Speed Concepts Racing. I'll throw out the headline. You and I can start filling things in. Here's the headline for X30 Senior. Turney completes championship performance with 2 wins.
Turney. That was pretty much has been the story of 2023 here in single speed competition. And especially at Superkarts USA Pro Tour, you guys got to see him in Orlando make his, or back to SCUSA Winter Series, actually make his Kart Republic debut and SCUSA debut there and turn it into a championship there, and then go to Pro Tour and win in Orlando, win in Utah. And so essentially he was in the driver's seat for the championship heading into Newcastle, got the 10 bonus points for finishing on top of the time charts and qualifying. But Norberg, looking for that elusive first win of 2023, was able to creep in and grab the pre-final win early fighting in the main event. That's essentially what defined this race, as you had Mateus Morgado and Blake Nash and Ryan Norberg up there with Turney.
Yeah.
Eventually, Turney was able to get by Norberg. I think Morgado got in and challenged for that second spot. Nash was in there kind of mixing it up. And so they're fighting, again, as we've seen before, allowed Turney to get a little bit of a gap, and he turned that gap into a pretty sizable lead over the next few laps, and just from that was able to just drive away to what was his third victory of the season on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, they were not working together behind Turney. That is for sure. Everybody wanted to be up front. Nobody wanted to push. It just, obviously, at that point, it really came down to the battle for the final couple of spots on the podium. 1.716 was the margin of victory for Turney as he pulled away. Norberg was able to get to second. Morgado third. Dalton Haynes did a great job of the Alonso kart, coming off a really good run. So he ends up down at Trackhouse at the Grand Nationals, was able to put together some sponsorship package to be able to come. So shout out to Haynes, finishing in fourth spot as he worked his way forward too. He wasn't really in the fight. He had to scrap his way forward, which was great. Nash ends up in the fifth spot all told. Hard charger goes to Caleb Gaffera on the LN racing cart, working with the guys from Brandon Jarsa Crack Racing and Mike Doty Racing. Started in 11th spot, able to get himself up into sixth. So it was a kind of an up and down weekend for Gaffera, but a solid sixth on Saturday.
Yeah, he passed a lot of carts on the weekend because even though he didn't get hard charger on Sunday, he got shuffled back and I think made up probably 10 spots at least in that main event.
Yeah, tried to run the outside coming into turn number, whatever it is, 3, I guess we'll call it, right? Scoreboard.
The tires weren't staggered special.
It just didn't need it. He had massive.
I think he got help though too.
he got roughed up a little bit, but he was trying the outside move, right?
Yeah.
Rolling in on Sunday, David. The calculations are out. We all know what people have to do. Norberg knows he's got to essentially sweep the weekend. Sweep the day on Sunday, round 6. He ends up qualifying on the pole position, but that was it in terms of Norberg being P1 at the end of any of the sessions.
Yeah, Norberg got those 10 points, so it helped, but it was Turney coming back with the pre-final win, and I believe Norberg was second. So going into the main event, I want to say it was a 10th or better that Turney needed in order to secure the top spot in the championship. So he knew the goal, and so the way the race shaped out, he really didn't have to worry about it because it was just him and Norberg that were basically up front. I know early on, Morgado kind of challenged, actually led the first lap, but then Turney and Norberg were able to get away, pace themselves. I think it was Norberg that led a majority of the race. Turney kind of just sat right there, but it was a great final lap for the race win.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Norberg worked Turney really, really hard to get his way over with an over-under to get this top spot. But it all came down to essentially the horseshoe in the second part of the racetrack, right? I guess it's turns 9 and 10, right? Yeah, 8 is 8 and 9? No, 9 and 10. Turns 9 and 10. The double left. Norberg went to the inside, got kind of the pass done with an over-under, pushed wide on the exit. Turney did the same coming out of the cell tower corner, did the over-under, and was able to get through and get the spot. In the end, it wasn't going to change the championship, but obviously for Norberg, he wanted that one win on the season, just wasn't able to get it as Turney was able to get through. Just some great racing between two super talented drivers at the end of the day.
It was. And, Norberg knows that he just left just enough space, and that was the error. If it was a quarter less space, probably Turney wouldn't have been able to make that move. But he just drifted out just too far enough to allow Turney to kind of dive inside on that second left-hander there. And that was it. That was the winning move. And Turney was able to celebrate his 4th Pro Tour victory of the season, 2/10 ahead of Norberg. Alessandro Di Tullio, a solid third place finish, was able to work his way up into that third spot ahead of Morgado, with Brandon Carr, who had a rough day or weekend until this main event. Hard charger of the race, moving up 18 spots, 23rd to 5th. So who was, I think he was the championship leader leaving Orlando. Didn't have quite the Utah weekend to be able to keep himself in the championship chase, but was still there heading into the weekend. Saturday didn't go his way, so essentially ended his title hopes, but a good way to end, at least with a top 5 finish to close out the year.
We haven't seen it for a long time. Ryan Norberg not being on, a race winner on the Pro Tour. Davis, give us some insight into that. I know that you've did some diving into the old statistics to find out when the last time we didn't see Norberg on top of the box.
Yeah, according to Xander, I went into my Excel 93 to check this out. It's the first time that Ryan Norberg has not won the SCUSA Pro Tour during his tenure beginning in 2016. So 7 seasons of winning at least one main event on the year. It was actually in 2015 he ran USPKS, and you'll never guess. I know you can read it right now, but I bet you would have never guessed who he ran with back in 2015.
No, throw it out there.
It was Checkered Motorsports aboard a PCR chassis. He actually won that year at South Bend with Checkered Motorsports and PCR chassis in 2015. Didn't race SCUSA Pro Tour until 2016.
There you go. Yeah, amazing. In the championship, Turney does win by 104 markers over Ryan Norberg. So even though not getting the championship, Norberg's still in the fight the whole time based on just the absolute consistency of the way he was able to put together the body of work for the year. Mateus Morgado, I think, showing the continued improvement for the Burrell Art crew and PSL karting as he ends up finishing third in points, 134 back.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Turney, European champion, Norberg, multi-time U.S. champion, Morgado, a world champion.
Yeah.
I mean, that just says it right there.
It does. It really does, too. And 3 different chassis, 3 different manufacturers as well. Not just brands, but manufacturers. Kart Republic, Cosmic, and Burrell Art, all represented in the top 3.
3 different engine builders as well, too.
Oh, there you go. You're right. Exactly that. So let's go to Pro Shifter, presented by PSL Karting. Here's your headline. Myers doubles up as Kremers claims second straight title.
There's just something about Myers. He almost should live at Newcastle, as successful as he's been over his tenure there. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But almost a sweep for him. But it was Billy Musgrave that put in a solid qualifying lap in qualifying to set fast time. You were right there at the scales, Rob. I mean, the emotions were high.
They were. 100% were. He was really,
you don't want to say it?
Well, I'm not going to say it here. No, he was pumped up because listen, let's just throw
let's
it here.
Say it.
I'm not saying it.
No, I was going to say the swear word, but he everybody said it was the 175.
That's where I was going.
Billy Musgrave on top of the podium in Orlando.
Yep.
And he proved the critics wrong by putting a fast lap in qualifying at Newcastle, which again hasn't been one of his better racetracks, and was able to do it on the TM KZ. So he was effing happy.
He was effing happy. Yeah. Here's the one thing I always want to roll here, and I don't. Those of you maybe some people know it, some people don't really. But the thing about Billy, not only does he design these karts, and he's on the track all the time for factory karts. This is his own design. This is American-made steel. This is his design, his R&D. But Billy's 33 years old, I think he told me, right? Or 32 or 33 years old, something like that.
He's Masters eligible.
He's Masters eligible. And that's what I thought. This is just the layers of cool factor of this whole deal, that here he is running against some of these guys. Obviously, everybody's in their either late teens or 20s, and Billy's out there hustling around with the big dogs at 30-something, over 30, which just the whole thing that happens is what I just think is such a great deal. We're working on a piece for karting news, folks. It's going to be coming out soon because Billy's going to deserve some time in the spotlight for sure. But in the end, like you said, puts it on the pole, qualifies P1, but really from then on, AJ Myers, Mr. Newcastle, steps it up once again, and he was just a dominant factor for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, it was. He got away to the pre-final win, and then a whole shot victory in the main event. I mean, just dominated the race, driving away to a 5.5 second margin of victory. Did the yawning move across the line there after his performance. So I wasn't quite sure where everybody was.
Yeah, but
it was 5.5 margin of victory. Really, it was a fight for second early on with Kremers. Almost it seemed like he was holding everybody up.
Yeah.
And they eventually fell down the order. You had the German driver, David Treveloff, on the Maranello come through for second, Musgrave into third. So he actually got on the podium for the first time since Orlando. And then Kyle Wick and Taylor Nyako rounding out the top 5. But Kremers actually fell down to 7th with Danny Formal slipping into 6th with the hard charger from 21st to 6th after pre-final issue. So
to Kremer's credit,
a tough weekend for Kremers.
To Kremer's credit, he looked like death. He's like every time I looked over, he was sick.
He after the main event was dry heaving out on the scale line. I mean, they had to bring him water and everything. Like he would, like even AJ Myers was right there with him. Like, hey guys, can we get him some water? And officials were there to kind of make sure he was doing okay. And he said he's been kind of sick for last month. Just haven't been a lot of traveling. He's been going to Europe and going to Australia. So there's a lot of travel that he's been doing. So hopefully he'll be getting a little bit better over the next month before we head to Cincinnati.
I'll say that David Trefilov was very interesting to watch, as we know, on the Maranello. I think they were underneath or at least part of the International Motorsports crew. That's kind of the liver they had on.
It's a SRP Maranello race team.
Factory team.
race team supported by International Motorsports.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he was definitely one of the disruptors, a term I like to use, because he was right in there, ended up going P2, and then he would actually play a huge role, almost a huge role, right, in the championship come Sunday as well.
I mean, essentially, he was stealing points from all the championship contenders. Yeah. I mean, especially because we had 4 different drivers in the championship hunt. Gaining a position on him is extra points, or not getting that spot is losing points. And so that was kind of he was kind of the wild card on the weekend, because of course Myers, a sweeping performance, was able to go fast time in qualifying, win the pre-final, and grab another whole shot victory, leading all 16 laps of the main event. It was actually cut 2 laps short because of the false start.
One of the drivers stalled on the grid.
Yep. So, so that was an interesting viewpoint too, because drivers are expecting 18 laps, then boom, all of a sudden 2 laps to go signal. Oh, what's this? I got to go now.
Well, listen, if you know the rules, you should have known that in the first place. If you're a driver, that you should know the rules.
A lot of times you don't think about that.
Well,
I because you almost have that set number, so you're kind of mapping it on that. So it's
you said it. Bottom line is Myers walks away to a 2.7 seconds win. So the only session he did not top was qualifying for the first race of the weekend, which Musgrave got. But the battle behind him is what is so wild, right? You got Kremers in the middle of the fight. Kyle Wick's is scrabbling. He's battling.
It wasn't even a battle. Let's be honest. It was just Kremers sitting there second, Wick sitting there third, Trefilov.
They weren't battling yet. They were just driving.
No
around.
battling whatsoever. Correct. They all were pacing themselves. And it basically set up for a last lap maneuvers for those 3 drivers.
No, lay it out. It gets ugly.
Yeah. So essentially they're coming down to scoreboard corner. Wick makes the move on Kremers, gets the inside. Kremers gives him enough space, doesn't want to make the contact because, again, every position counts for championship. They go into green.
Did it happen? Did it happen in scoreboard? I thought it happened earlier. I thought Wick went by earlier because then Kremers was. Are you sure? Because I thought Kremers was pointing it at Wick to get go. I thought.
No. Kremers went inside Wick at scoreboard corner. That was when the move was made.
Okay.
And then as they went up into the green corner, Trefilov made the move inside of him there.
Yeah.
And that was dropping Kremers from 2nd to 4th, which, early on would have been the issue, because again, every championship points matter. You asked me earlier in the race, as they were running Kremers 2nd, Musgrave 5th, how would the points shape up if Kremers were to fall to 4th? And we looked at it. That would give Musgrave the championship. If Musgrave was 5th, Kremers was 4th.
Yeah, so I just didn't look back at Skype again.
I know. So that was the situation. We knew that by the halfway point, because that's when I think you asked me.
Yeah.
The issue is because we're watching 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, nobody's watching what Musgrave and Talon Yakal are doing. They're back in 5th and 6th.
Agreed.
And it looks to be like, and again, I had to go back to the lap chart. Lap 13 is when Musgrave lost the 5th position. Now, I think they might have had a last lap battle, so Musgrave might have gotten the spot back during the lap, but then Yakal came back. I don't know. But Kremers came across the line 4th behind Kyle Wick and David Trefilov. So we're, you can talk about what's going in the booth. So Kremers ends up 4th.
No, Musgrave, what happened was that Xander and I shit the bed.
yeah. I mean, you can say that.
We just messed it up.
And so Jaakko ended up finishing in 5th, just ahead of Musgrave. Let me go to, I think the gap wasn't even that much. It was it was actually a full second. So
I'm looking at this right now, bud, too. It was a full second. Musgrave, you're right. He got passed on lap 13 and never got back. So he was 6th on lap 13. We weren't looking at it. We were just so focused.
It wasn't on the camera. No. You guys are focused on what they're showing you on the camera. Yeah, I wasn't even looking because I just assumed Musgrave was running 5th.
I did too.
And I'm trying to debate, okay, do I stay up here and calculate points? Do I go shoot photos? Do I got to do a scale video? My mind's going in all these different directions. I'm not even looking at Musgrave.
Oh my God, it's so hilarious. So we're all screaming like Musgrave's won the championship. The American-made chassis is going to win. It's won it, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you're texting me like, no, Musgrave lost the spot. We're like, you gotta be kidding me. So it made for good TV, I think. The fact that Xander and I we were, again, focused on what we were watching. With the move for Trefloff to get by Kremers, moving Kremers back to P4, in our mind meant that he wasn't going to win it and that it was going to go for 1 point. We had to correct ourselves. We figured it out. And then you came back with even more information because the crazy thing is not only does Musgrave on lap 13 losing, all he lost was P5. He dropped to 6th. Not only did he not win the championship as a result, he doesn't even get a national number plate because of the closeness of the championship and the points. He ends up in 4th. One spot was 4th in the championship points. Unbelievable to me.
Well, but you also have to factor that Wick got points with the move. So,
because Wick went to second. That's right.
Not just losing 5th place, Wick moving up to 2nd, that messes up that changes his points as well too. Yep. So it gives him more because again, 10 points going from 3rd to 2nd. So he gained 10 more points. So that adjusted Wick's point total, 10 additional points to what it was. Musgrave loses 8 points going from 5th to 6th. So again, all that basically calculates to 4 drivers within 7 points in the championship.
So let's just throw this out there. I know we probably capped this off. We're going too long, but
it's all right.
This is one of those deals again. When let's say you're at the second race of the season, you're at the Winter Nationals, and you're running 3rd or you're running 4th or 5th, and you don't make that move for P4. You don't think about it, right? Good. I'll take it. I'm good. I didn't want to risk it. That could be the difference in a championship, right? Musgrave gets one more position somewhere up. Kyle Wick ends up finishing 1 point. So Kremers wins the championship. Kyle Wick back by 1 point in 2nd. Gulick 6 back in 3rd. Musgrave 7 back. If Kyle Wick makes one more pass anywhere in the season, even in a pre-final, he ends up potentially winning the championship as well.
Or even a bonus, getting a fast lap, 10 points, or top qualifiers, 10 points as well too. So
I know, it's amazing.
And again, that's why we look at these championships and every point matters. Now, obviously, if in two of the categories, it was everything was decided by Saturday. If you're winning, 2 or 3 times in 4 rounds, it's a different situation. But when you got 3 different winners coming into the weekend, and then you get 4 different winners after 5 rounds, it certainly makes everything much more difficult. And talking with Wick right afterwards, he knew it. He's like, "Yeah, it was the heat races that I sucked at." Yep. He had 2 heat races. Well, you can't even count the drop weekend. So you look at drop round. You look at his performance on Saturday at Newcastle and his pre-final, he finished, I want to say 7th. So if he would have finished in the top 5, that would have given him the championship.
He wins the championship. Wow. A couple little notes you have in here, David. I'll throw one out here. Hard charge was Andy Rule for Magic Kart, up 8 spots, 23rd to 15th. And that has an asterisk on it too, because there was a really bad wreck on Sunday during the pre-final with Justin White. I think Andy had to check up. A couple guys were having some trouble coming through turn number 4, which is the right-hander after the scoreboard corner. She checks up. Justin White drives over top of her, literally hammers her in the back of the neck, the arm. Her right arm smashes her helmet into the steering wheel. We see on social media today, arm's going to be fine, a slight concussion. But she comes back after that wreck. They dial the cart back in. She starts 23rd, ends up 15th. Shout out to Andy Rule, showing a little badass action. coming back in after a pretty bad wreck.
Yeah, I was actually recording at that time because it was right after the lunch break, so I had the opportunity to get back on track early as the start happened. So I was sitting there in the scoreboard corner. I mean, they all just bunched up really hard. I think they were 3 wide going in, bunched up really hard going into the apex, coming out of the exit. And I think she said she got turned sideways, and that's when Justin had nowhere to go and ran right over the top of her. But as they did, Justin's cart took the beating. I mean, that thing flew and did a number of cartwheels. Thankfully, he jumped or got thrown out early as the cart was getting tossed around. What made it look scary was that the Nerf bar flew off the cart, and I think probably went up 10 stories high.
Wow.
So that's what made it look so terrible. I thought, because I was trying to watch through my phone, that a cart actually hit one of the green canopy area, that the permanent flag stand there. And so it was a little bit sketchy. I was like, what just happened? So, ran over there to see, and thankfully, none of that was the case. But luckily, both drivers were able to walk away. As you said, Annie, concussion, she posted that on social media. So thankfully, she's all right. I no doubt that getting ran over like that's gonna do something like that. I think they said the visor broke off, so it was such a hard hit. So yeah.
We mentioned at the start of this that AJ Myers is essentially Mr. Newcastle. Let's talk, David, to cap this one off, a little bit about what he's actually been able to do in SCUSA competition at this racetrack.
Yeah, looking back at all the results from the SummerNationals or any SCUSA Pro Tour event that's been at Newcastle, and AJ Myers has now earned his 9th and 10th victory at Newcastle in shifter kart racing. Now I believe he might have won a tag race before, but I didn't look that far back. I didn't see his name on that list. So I think that might have been USBKS that he won there. But dating back to 2016. AJ Myers has won 10 shifter kart races for Superkarts USA competition at Newcastle.
All right, let's cap off this edition or this segment and go to KA 100 Senior presented by Nash Motorsports. Here's your headline: Keeble, not just 2 more as Levy gains first championship.
Yeah, it could have been Keeble getting the championship had he run in Orlando for the Winter Nationals, but it ended up Levy gaining the championship. Saturday was a good battle. A lot of heated racing going on. You had Mick Gabriel setting fast time in qualifying, Henry Wheeler picking up the pre-final win, but Keeble, who had a little bit of an issue in qualifying, worked his way up into 11th in the pre-final, and then from there just knifed his way up to the front, was able to get with the lead group. He and Levy exchanged the top spot a couple of times with Wheeler and John Burke right there. I believe Gabriel went off with I think Gabriel had contact, so wasn't part of the lead group. So he fell off that. Last lap, Keeble was just able to out battle Levy for the top spot and drive away to his second victory on the season in the category over Aiden Levy. Oliver Calvo jumped in. I think as they were fighting, they had another group join up and get in the battle. And one of them was Oliver Calvo, last year's double winner with Speed Concept Racing on the Red Speed. So he rounded out the podium with Eli Warren getting up into 4th and John Burke ending up in 5th.
Yeah, Warren was a factor throughout the weekend, too. Did a great job on the Red Speed. John Burke on the CRG, as you mentioned. Kane Martin on the EOS for Nash Motorsports, up 18 spots. Your hard charger, 31st, up into 13th. 3 different people leading sessions on Saturday. Gabriel qualified pole, Wheeler on the pre-final, Keeble in the final. David, it was all Keeble on Sunday.
Yeah, it was just the British driver that really showed his speed. Got adjusted to the Newcastle reverse direction and certainly proved it, sweeping the event. It was him and Wheeler that kind of got away early on in the main event. They kind of fought for third behind them a little bit, so that allowed the top 2 drivers to get away. And then right at the scale line, Wheeler was like, I just can't keep up with him. The guy, he was just too good. And Keeble was on his point, hit every mark the right way, was able to drive away to a 1.6 victory over Henry Wheeler.
Indeed. Colin Lloyd battled his way back up into it. He was in the middle of the championship fight as well and knew what he needed to do. He kept digging forward, but just came up short with it. We talked about Kane Martin. He ended up in 4th place on Sunday ahead of Mick Gabriel, who had an overall strong weekend. Hard charge was John Burke. Remember, he finished 5th on Saturday, but had to come from deep in the field. Had an issue in the pre-final that dropped him back. Chain guard, I think, David, you got down.
Yeah, let me go over his story.
Roll it up.
So, qualifying, opening lap, gets run over. So the fairing's destroyed. Probably the front end's all bent. He goes on to qualify 26, even though he's got a bent-up go-kart. Fixes everything, so goes from 26th to 11th in the pre-final. Pretty good run. Unfortunately, he gets disqualified for missing a chain guard. So that drops him to the tail end of the field. So starts 33rd in the main event and works his way all the way up into 10th. So essentially, he passed 15 karts in the pre-final and then passed 23 karts in the main event for a busy Sunday afternoon, all without a 10.
Yeah, that's it. They lost the 10 in the storm. Wow. So great job for John Burke and that CRG team, Tesoro Kartworks. Good stuff. In the end, David, it kind of shook down that Aiden Levy was in the spot, right? He knew what he needed to do come Sunday. Although Colin Lloyd threw it down there and went to P3, Aiden able to come away with the championship for Kart Republic and Team Tarp. 88 points up on Lloyd. Henry Wheeler with a really good weekend. Where did he finish? Where did he finish on Saturday? Wheeler. I don't have it on front of me here. Regardless, second on Sunday, he goes up to third. Keeble, as you said, on the strength of just only running 2 events. All he ran was the second 2 rounds, ends up only 147 points back. It would have been a pretty, he would have been in the fight for sure for the championship, but he ends up 4th. All told, though, a tremendous run for Levy. Showed good pace at the SCUSA Winter Series. That kind of convinced them to go racing the Pro Tour, and he ends up with the championship. Now we'll head off to school, but the bottom line is great job for Aiden.
Yeah, racing with Chad Dawkin Racing this weekend, but also part of the Team TARP program with working with Martin Pierce as well, and so working off Chad Dawkin as well too. So really cool championship for him. But yeah, the Keeble story, that, I mean, if he would have been in racing both in Orlando, that would have been made it for a little bit more of an interesting championship. But Lloyd, ended up finishing 10th on Saturday, so that kind of hurt his championship hopes. And with Levy finishing 2nd, that almost essentially helped get him the championship.
Indeed it did. All right, another break in the action. We get back. Our race report brought to you by Blaze Coaching will continue. We'll go to X30 Junior, KA100 Junior, Master Shifter, and KA100 Master. Is IndyCar your dream? If it is, for 2023 and beyond, the path from karting to IndyCar has gotten even clearer. It's time to look into the new USF Juniors program and the brand new Tatis JR23. As the first step of the newly rebranded USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires, the USF Junior Series will feature a 6-event, 16-race schedule to train racers for the move into the USF 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires. The USF Juniors champion will win a scholarship worth over $248,000, and the total prize fund will exceed $330,000. The series will also debut the new Tatis JR23 race car in 2023, which is a development version of the USF 22 used in USF 2000. It's the ideal entry point for career-minded karters moving on to the car racing ladder. Safety is always front and center in the mind of the series promoters, and the USF Juniors car features a halo, and the races are supported by members of the AMR IndyCar safety team. If IndyCar is your goal, USF Juniors is the starting line. For more information, visit www.usfjuniors.com and follow USF Juniors on social media. Check out any major national karting event, and what's the common thread? Speed Concepts Racing. Up front, in every class, every weekend. The Speed family has been at the forefront of American karting for over 25 years, and Speed Concepts Racing is the sole dedication of Father Mike Speed and his multi-time championship-winning son Alex Speed. This program is all about passion for the sport and a dedication to winning. They know how to get it done. If you're a senior driver ready to put yourself amongst the best in the country, Speed Concepts Racing is the program for you. We can win the big races. You just need to be in the seat. The Speeds program has delivered time over time in the junior classes as well, helping to elevate a long list of young drivers from mid-pack to potential race winners. Speed Concepts Racing has the perfect equation of coaching, driver development, and technical knowledge to elevate your program. Arrive and drive opportunities are available for the remainder of the 2023 season, and we're locking in seats for 2024 as well. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, contact Speed Concepts Racing through email at speedconceptsracing@gmail.com. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by four-time Supernats champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at the Riverside, California facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory Karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce a high-performance, long-lasting kart that has been designed and perfected from 3 years of development, with a focus for a big push across North America in 2023. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product like Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Do you remember when American made meant innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American made is back. Contact Factory Karts today to join the American made movement. Learn more by visiting factorykarts.com or email Billy anytime at info@factorykarts.com. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief, episode number 115, as we're taking a deep dive into the Superkarts USA Summer Nationals, the final round of the 2023 Pro Tour. Back into the race report here, brought to you by Blaze Coaching. We'll go to X30 Junior, presented by Rawlson Performance Group. And David, here's your headline. Brown wins in debut as Rivera clinches crown with victory.
Yeah, in our Paddock Insider, we were talking about one X30 Junior driver. We probably should have been talking about another, but now we can because of his performance on the opening day of racing and his first ever race in X30 Junior category. So Turner Brown was just fast. There's nothing more you can really say, because Saturday set fast time in qualifying, won the pre-final. Him and Weldon got away in the main event, and it was a deciding factor between those two. And Brown was able to school him on the final circuit to be able to hold on to the top spot and drive away to a sweeping victory in his debut.
Yeah, very emotional at the end as well. You captured that on our eKarting News website, or the Facebook page, Instagram, that we always do with those videos coming out of the scales. Everybody was there. A lot of guys from different teams coming in to congratulate Turner Brown on that victory. Weldon did a tremendous job. That was a great battle out front. Capping off the podium, Jackson Wolney, a really good run for Jackson. We saw him make his podium debut at the Winter Nationals, or rather the Winter Series earlier this year, and he has continued to step things up as one of the top junior drivers. Max Taylor came home P4, and Sarah Bradley with a really good run on the Red Speed for Speed Concepts Racing, capping off the top 5. Sarah was really part of the battle throughout the entire weekend. Stephen Miller ended up with the hard charger, not a huge field, but started 13th and was able to work his way up to 6th for Kart Republic. But on Sunday, things were interesting as well. Nick Eggleston was a driver really throughout the weekend, David. Showed great pace, ended up getting in a pretty nasty incident that we can touch on a little later on. But Nick's qualified on the pole position to start the battle on Sunday.
Yeah, and then something happened to where he kind of got shuffled back as the racing went on. Ended up with Max Taylor picking up the victory in the pre-final as Eggleston dropped down to 8th in that race. So again, a lot of jostling in the pre-final, which is something we were expecting to see in the main event, and ended up being that way with Rivera and Harvick, Keelan Harvick getting away. It was kind of like a 2x2x2 set, as we had Rivera and Harvick. Then you had Turner Brown and Stephen Miller in another group or duo. And then behind them, you had Weldon and Max Taylor. So they all kind of spaced out pretty much evenly. And then, you just got to figure it. The last lap, people start defending. They start changing position. Boom. Last lap, all 6 right there together on the final circuit. And Rivera did a great job. Obviously used his experience as probably the older driver in the category. Was able to fend off all the challenges by Harvick and and Miller there through the end, and was able to cross the line for what was his third victory of the season.
Yeah, big win for sure. As you had said, David, 0.5 of a second up on Miller. Brown ends up in third, Taylor fourth. Weldon was actually your hard charger, started ninth. He worked his way up to P5. In the end, Rivera winning the championship by 49 points over Taylor, and Wolde finishing in third spot. So RPG 1, 2, 3 in the points.
Yeah, and Rivera becomes the 13th different champion in 14 years of the SCUSA Pro Tour in the junior category. Carson Morgan, the only driver to double up, winning in 2020 and 2021. And you got to expect Rivera, being of his age, will not be able to defend moving up if he does stay in karting next year.
Yeah, I think Rivera probably, from what I'm being told, potentially heading to Europe for some F4 racing next year. So that could be it for karting over here for Rivera. Let's go to KA100 Junior, presented by Greyhound Racing Seats. And here's your headline. Malkit and Ardiles earned career first, with Miller taking the title.
Yeah, this category, again, the largest of the weekend with 47 drivers. So it was exciting to kind of watch. You had a lot of drivers who were expected to be in the mix. One of them, obviously, Ernesto Rivera, being one of the older drivers and one of the quickest all season long, set fast time in qualifying. But Isaac Malkit, who I'm calling the king of the castle, because he just seems to do so well at Newcastle every time he's there, winning the pre-final. And then it ended up being him and Oliver Weldon that got away in the main event. So they were able to lock together, get away from the rest of the group. A great Weldon ascent. I think Weldon had the lead at the white flag. They came around the circuit. It was at the green corner, the left turn after that little hill after scoreboard. Malkut kind of surprised Oliver. He didn't defend, and Malkut took the advantage, went to the inside, got to the apex first, and that was the winning move, as Isaac was able to drive away to the victory and beat Weldon to the line for his first SCUSA Pro Tour victory in KA100 Junior.
Yeah, big victory for Malkut for sure there. That track he essentially calls his home circuit. Weldon coming home in second. Max Taylor was strong in all the categories all weekend. He ended up in third ahead of Rivera and Miller. Miller, of course, the driver, has kind of been one of the dominant factors in KA100 Junior this year. He was P5, logging good points again to try to get his way into a championship. Talked about Jackson. Oh, sorry.
Yep, which he did. That was the championship deciding move. Finish. Yeah. He locked it up Saturday. So pretty much was running, conservative, but not conservative on Sunday.
Jackson Wolde was the hard charger, up 31 spots after a DNF in the pre-final. Started 46th and drove his way up to 15th over the 18 laps. So excellent job for Jackson Wolde, as I said, turning himself into one of the top junior drivers right now. On Sunday, out of the gate, it was actually Diego Ardiles, David, laying down the fast time in qualifying.
Yeah, I think the session was kind of marred with, people trying to find the right dancing partner. Yep. And with only 5 minutes on track, you're getting 3 laps, I think is what they were able to clock in. And if you screw up one, we know momentum is key in KA100 Junior. It kind of slows your pace. And I think Diego was able to catch everybody sleeping to be able to put down that fast lap and set the pace for qualifying. But Rivera came back through, scoring crucial championship points to try and keep himself in the chase there in the championship podium. So that helped him. The main event, however, only got 2 laps in before we had a red flag with Nix Eggleston. He was towards the back of the field, so something happened in the pre-final because he's had better pace than that, but was involved in a multi-cart wreck, complained about back issues. So they did the precautionary thing of making sure they got him transported. He ended up checking out okay and was back at the racetrack by podium time. So good to hear that Eggleston was able to bounce back. And I jokingly said, "You want to wrestle right now?" He's like, "No." Yeah, I go, "But you'll probably be in a cart next week." He goes, "Yeah, probably."
Oh my goodness. His dad had posted onto social media that nothing was broken, but he's going to be sore for a few days. So
yeah,
I get no doubt about it. And again, like we said in the broadcast, right? Anytime a driver's complaining of a potential, pain in your back, you've got to take that seriously, right? So even though he was fine, and they got him and checked him out, you got to err to the side of caution, right?
Yeah, and that's what they did. So it might have delayed things, but better to be safe than sorry.
Agreed.
So once the race got restarted, it was a busy opening few laps. A lot of different drivers taking over the lead. Weldon secured the lead late and held on. actually drove his way to the checkered flag first. Unfortunately, 8 seconds in penalty, one including contact and one for scrubbing tires after the commitment cone. That dropped him all the way down to, I think it was 13th where he would end up. So took away the victory for him. Ouch. But that promoted Diego Ardiles up to the top step of the podium for his first SCUSA Pro Tour victory in the category.
Max Taylor again on the podium. I said he was strong all told. He ended up finishing in second. How about the run for Christian Meyer as well on the Kart Republic? Really impressive for Christian to work his way onto the podium.
Yeah, his first SCUSA Pro Tour podium, so a good run for him aboard the Chad Dockin Racing Kart Republic with Keegan Kaminsky, a driver we see do really well on the West Coast. Finally got over kind of the hurdles and the intricacies of Newcastle to put himself in fourth aboard the GFC. And then Enzo Vidmontien, one of the leaders early on in the race, ended up in the fifth spot.
Yeah, let's look at the hard charger, David. Stephen Miller, we talked about the fact that he locked the championship in provisionally on Saturday with his top 5 performance, but ended up having an issue. I'm not sure what
engine change.
Engine change. There you go. So he started 47th, dead last, drives his way all the way up to P4, then I'm assuming penalties potentially knocking him down to 12th. It was an amazing drive to work his way all the way to 4th.
Yeah, so still hard charger with 35 spots, but could have been more if it had not been for the penalties. I believe one of them, contact, so 5-second penalty for that. That is the only penalty I see for him on that.
No pushback on that one too?
No, the number did not show up on pushback.
All right, there you go. All right. Little contact. Well, listen, when you get your way to the front like that, sometimes you have your elbows up for sure. The bottom line is that, as we had said before, provisionally the champion on Saturday. He ends up, Stephen Miller does, with the title in KA 100 over Max Taylor by 188 points and Ernesto Rivera by 218 points. So those three drivers really have been kind of the class of the field throughout the year here as being guys you would expect to be up front all the time. Rivera, as we said, likely heading off to Europe to do some F4 racing. Max Taylor, as we know, could move to some senior karting. I think he'll do some of that later this year, but he's been driving in USF Juniors, and we're not quite sure where Stephen Miller's going to be in 2024. We'll find that out as we head into the offseason. David, let's go to Master Shifter. 10 drivers in total, as we had said. The category brought to you by International Motorsports. And here's your headline: Crow doubles up at home track.
The Crow Show, doing what he does.
You didn't just call it the Crow Show?
No. I wanted to use it, and now you just ruined it.
I did not ruin it. What are you talking about?
The Crow Show. Going down to Podiumville. Yep, Crow. Something about Newcastle and the Crow and factory carts, and anytime he's with Musgrave Racing, and just it's a good combination. And he's very tough to beat, even though he is a Supermaster driver. He's very tough to beat. The Young Guns couldn't quite get by him, but it was a great race on Saturday. You had for a while it was Joe Rook there. He won the pre-final, but spun gear dropped him out of the race towards the end of the race, or towards the end of the main event. So essentially left Justin Kelly, last year's winner and former SCUSA Pro Moto Tour winner, probably AJ Note.
Yeah.
So
another winner too.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot about that. That's right. So they were the top 3 drivers towards the end. Naud, who I jokingly messed around with last year, was "You're playing too nice." Well, he didn't this time. He made a great move, caught Crow by surprise in one of the corners, took over the lead. Kelly came through, but Crow went right back, got back up into the lead, and then on the last lap just made his cart just that extra little bit wide. Somehow he does it. I don't know how. But neither Kelly nor Naud were able to get around as Crow took a victory by 0.2 of a second at the line.
Yeah, big victory for Factory Kart as well. They won a bunch of races, or a couple of races at least on the Pro Tour this year. So indeed, John Crow on that Factory Kart getting the win. Michael Gouache ended up finishing in 4th spot, and Chris Jennings, you had mentioned earlier, back here on the Pro Tour, finishing in 5th on the Magic Kart. He was the hard charger as well, from 10th up into 5th. The Crow Show continued 100% through to Sunday as he topped all 3 sessions.
Yeah, we were expecting to see another great main event. Unfortunately, Crow was able to get away early as Larry Pegram was running second. So kind of not really slowing him up, but nobody could get around him. He had good pace, just wasn't able to keep it all the way up into the first half of the race, kind of fell off a little bit towards the end. By the time Joe Rook and Justin Kelly and AJ Nowd got around. Crow had already picked up a 2-second advantage and pretty much held it on for the remainder of the race. And Crow picking up what is his 6th win at Newcastle in Superkarts USA competition.
Wow, he's been the man for sure. Crow winning by 2.1 seconds. Rook in second on the Maranello, as was Justin Kelly in third. Now it ended up finishing in a 4th spot, and Larry Pegram rounding out the top 5. Rook was the hard charger, up 7 spots, started 9th, ended up in 2nd. It was an up and down weekend for Joe. I talked to some of the issues that he had. You mentioned the spun rear gear on Saturday. There's some issues here and there. Drivers running the entire program are the ones that came away with the championship. Luis Quinones, who was so good in Utah on that factory kart, ends up winning the championship, the first national championship for factory kart, winning the title here in the master shifter class. The last year's national number 1 plate winner, Robert Fige, finishing in 2nd, and Michael Gouache on the Maranello rounding out the top 3 in the championship battle. Good, just good to see more growth in master shifter, a couple more guys coming out. Ideally, we'll see this category get up to that, that 15, 16 mark, even more maybe next year.
Yeah, hopefully we will. It's I think now that we have the engine packages kind of more defined on what we can use and how we can utilize them. Obviously, Crow on the IME 175, Kelly, Rook, and now all on KZs. I think there might have been one. I think Luis was on a 175 as well.
Yeah.
So
well.
I think, it's interesting to see the mix, how that mixture works in master shifter, because again, they all pretty much are even when it comes to master racing.
Agreed. Let's go to, especially speaking of masters, go to KA 100 Master, brought to you by Aspen Fuel. Here's the headline: Vetter and Settles win in class return to Pro Tour.
Nobody really cares about this class.
Easy now.
Clay Settles, who I finally put together where I knew him from, but throughout the weekend, it was like, who is this guy? Local guy thinking, but I think he actually came from Texas at one point. So, is a KRA racer here at Newcastle, was able to take advantage of the category coming back to the SCUSA Pro Tour and being at the SummerNationals. He went on to set fast time in qualifying and win the pre-final, was the provisional winner in the main event. However, a penalty for scrubbing tires prior to the commitment cone for him took away the victory. That promoted Pistol Pete Vetter into the top spot of the podium. But the scrubbing tires also cost Adam Pettit, who I believe was 2nd or 3rd on racetrack, ended up in the 4th spot. So he also got penalized as well. That promoted Adam Roberts aboard the Maranello to the position. The penalty drop Settles to 3rd, Pettit to 4th, and some guy named Howden in 5th.
When they were scrubbing their tires, I was kind of like, what are you guys doing? Because I started right behind them. I'm like, guys.
Again, all these programs have different rules. It's tough to keep up with that.
Yeah.
True. I go to all these races. I didn't realize that, because again, you're offline. You want to at least try and get the tires warm, but I guess they have a rule, and I guess they're enforcing it. So.
Indeed. Yeah. But Settles did a good job. Again, a local driver there that runs the 206 category at the KRA races at Newcastle. Again, it was kind of like Vetter and Settles and Pettit were the fast guys throughout the practice, Thursday and Friday practice. Adam Roberts, who's back in the seat, having been out of karting for about 17 years, Air Force veteran, got him back into it. He's been doing some racing. He actually ran at the Stars Championship race, he told me, in the OKN class. But he's super psyched to get back out. He was one of the guys that kind of jumped on board here when I did a little bit of work to try to get KA Masters back on the grid, on the schedule for this weekend. And Adam, great guy, was just picking up speed throughout the all day Friday. And then obviously became, you'll see that he kind of stepped up, was fighting out with everybody to get on the podium. He ends up with the hard charger award, started last. I think he had an issue, or I don't know if it was an issue or something happened in the pre-final where he ended up.
I think he got sideways or got turned around.
Whatever it was.
I think it was contact with Gerstner, I think it was.
He ended up finishing the tail of the field in that one, came back up and finished second. There and indeed, yeah. So Settles, it's a sad deal because he won it, was super excited. Thankfully, he was able to come back and kind of get the retribution, having the win the next day. So Vetter comes out of the gate, puts a good qualifying lap down on Sunday, but Clay stepped up again, and I think he really was the kind of guy to beat all weekend long. With that home track knowledge on the top cart, getting comfortable with the Comet KA, he was strong and the guy to beat all weekend.
Yeah, he certainly was. just good pace all around. From maybe cold tires, he might have needed a little help. I think Vetter and Roberts got him early in the main event, but then settled down and was able to pick them both off and really putting really good laps at the end of the race. And 2.5 seconds was the margin of victory over Roberts at the checkered flag.
Yeah, Adam and Pete told me they had a really good battle for second and third. I was embroiled in a fight with Alfonso Santiago, and Tom Gersten was behind us as well. And I was able to get by Alfonso twice on Saturday with moves at the end of the straightaway, and got that done, and was able to hold on to P5. But let's just say I was getting a little bit tired, a little bit out of physical gas come Sunday at the main event. I was good for the 9-lap pre-final, but man, halfway through into the second half, he was hounding me, and I dropped the wheel here and there. I think I dropped the wheel coming out of one, and I was blocking to the inside. He did just a really good over-under on me. I didn't get the cart pinched enough around the corner when I was, running the defensive line.
It was a good move.
He got by me, and I just, at that point, I did through everything I could to try to get back by and couldn't do it. So I ended up finishing fifth both days. Not too unhappy with it, all told. Felt pretty good for me. Other notes, of course, from Sunday, we saw that, Clay Settles dialed things in, good late race pace. We didn't see Adam Pettit. We talked about that early. He was kind of focusing on Travis's racing. Bottom line was it was just good racing. We're all having a good time on track. We're all high-fiving each other afterwards. And when it was all said and done, 68 years old, Tom Gerstner, who came out to run with us, he ran both the Spring National, the Winter Nationals, and the Summer Nationals. There was no class at the Spring Nats. So Gerstner ends up with the championship over Michel Garrido, rather, who was very quick at the Winter Nationals by 84 points. And then Clay Settles ends up in third based on what he was able to do here at Newcastle. All told, though, big shout out to Tom Gerstner, 68 years young, and always a pleasure to run with Tom.
Yeah, it was cool to watch, but yeah, that was a great move by Santiago.
School on me there. Just good over under. I was out of gas. Out of gas.
It seemed like Vetter lost pace as well too. I think the track got a little greasy than what it was. Obviously having no rain, maybe the conditions were a lot different Sunday afternoon than Saturday afternoon.
I'll say this: I didn't take any hardware home, but I got a fantastic KA100 bruise on my right elbow.
Yeah, it's
massive.
It's pretty cool.
It's huge. It's huge. Cool. It's funny. All right, let's go to another break in the action, folks. When we get back, we're going to cap off the race report. We'll go Mini Swift and Micro Swift after this.
Have you suffered through the foul tasting or super sugary alternatives for endurance energy supplements? Do you feel like you don't get enough energy or not fast enough? Does everything you've tried taste synthetic and artificial? Karting puts extreme demands on your body, and in particular during hot days and weekends, with multiple heats and long main events. So at Titanium Sports Nutrition, we hear you. We make great tasting, clinically proven energy supplements for the most intense sport challenges using superfoods sourced straight from the Andes Mountains in South America and the Amazon rainforest. Our proprietary carbohydrate mix that we use in all our products is proven to deliver up to 75% more energy compared to brands that use glucose alone as their sole carb energy source, and also absorbs 2 times faster from the gut into the bloodstream. What this means is that you'll feel energized faster and longer with Titanium, and you'll sustain your physical performance. Go to Amazon or to our online store at titaniumstore.co to order online. That's titaniumstore.co. Use the promo code eKarting15 in our online store to get 15% off your first order. That's eKarting15. With Titanium, feel energized and satiated for hours with the power of superfoods from the Amazon and the Andes.
Are you ready to go from karts to cars? Since 1975, the Skip Barber Racing School has taken great drivers and made them champions. Today, we're proud to welcome the next generation of winners. Make the transition from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Formula Race Series. You'll compete at the most iconic tracks in America. Race weekends include your very own equalized Formula 4 race car, a professional crew, expert instruction, video and data analysis, hospitality, and more. This is the place to fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. Sign up today by calling 866-932-1949 or visit us at skipbarber.com.
all started in 1994 when former successful kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Fast forward 20 years, and Parolin's passion for the sport led to the company rejoining international competitions as a factory team in WSK and CIK FIA races, with the aim of enhancing the research and development process, immediately achieving notable results around Europe, North America, and Asia, becoming the CIK FIA Asia Pacific KZ champion in the same year. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all of the major Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior classes, and the 28mm mini kart for the cadet classes. Parolin has been winning races all over the world, and it's on top of the podium in the USA as well, with drivers like Kai Sorensen, Mateus Orjuela, and Alessandro De Tullio. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief. Almost done here with our race report brought to you by Blaze Coaching. We'll jump into Mini Swift presented by Avinco Tires. Here's your headline. Romero and Pettit split first career wins as Palacio gains championship.
Yeah, the Mini Swift category is fun to watch. It's a lot of good drivers, especially this season, that we've been following along throughout the SCUSA Winter Series and now throughout the SCUSA Pro Tour. One of them being Rocco Simoni, the mini rookie, was able to set fast time in qualifying, with Travis Pettit winning what was a wild pre-final. I think there was about 15 drivers in the lead pack in that one. It was certainly an interesting race as there was a lot of heavy fighting throughout the day. Marco Romero was actually able to get away late in what was, a lot of jostling for position in the main event, a lot of different leaders. But Romero took advantage of what was given to him, took the lead and had a lot of distance on the rest of the field. So he was able to drive away to a 5.1 second margin of victory for his first SCUSA Pro Tour victory.
Yeah, shout out for him. Good job.
Yeah, Michael McGoy was the driver finishing in second, but was given a 5-second penalty for contact. So that dropped him down to the 5th position. That moved Alessandro Truchot with Parolin USA up into the 2nd spot. Gabriel Balog, the Canadian, finishing 3rd on Magic Kart with Royce Vega in the 4th position. Yeah,
Balog was the card charger as well, David, from 3rd, as you said, started back in the 19th spot. So good job for Gabriel on the Magic to work its way forward. Big first win for Marco Romero, but we had the same thing essentially happen on Sunday. We talked about Adam Pettit watching his kid Travis from the sidelines when he had that win in the pre-final. Then, of course, the disappointment of what happened in the main. He decided not to run. He was going to focus on Travis. Out of the gate, though, Troy Ferguson was the fastest driver in qualifying, although Pettit stepped up again for another pre-final victory.
Yeah, it was actually those two drivers who made contact with 2 laps to go in Saturday's main event. So they were right there in the hunt for the victory, but unfortunately contact took both of them out of the race. So they bounced back great, as you said, with Ferguson qualifying first and then Pettit winning the pre-final. Well, Pettit got assistance with his Trinity Karting Group, Kart Republic teammate Lucas Palacio, one of the championship contenders coming into the weekend. They were able to hook up their bumpers and push away from the rest of the field. So they essentially decided the victory on the day. Palacio was leading. Pettit was able to make a move on the last lap and fend off Pettit, who made a look, but didn't force it because, again, big picture championship in looking ahead. So Pettit was able to hold him off and able to claim his first victory by 86 thousandths of a second at the line.
Yeah, I watched the last couple laps. Of course, we were on the track next, so I was kind of just sitting there waiting and watching it. And it looked to me like Woon and McGoy, they were working hard to try to see if they couldn't close in a little bit there. It wasn't a big gap between the two groups, the two duos that were running together. But again, the two Trinity Karting Group drivers really ran strongly together, didn't race, didn't battle, didn't allow McGoy and Woon to close back up. In the end, Woon was able to slip past McGoy in the final corner to take the 3rd spot. But yeah, indeed, a big win for Pettit. 86 thousandths at the line over Palacio, who would use that finish to get the championship over Marco Romero, who again put himself back into the fight with that win on Saturday. So everything was super tight still in the mini category. But in the end, like I said, David Palacio ends up finishing second. Pettit with the win. Woon, McGoy, and Tovo rounding out the top 5. So the championship was 14 points all told. Pettit, even with that win, only 45 point back. So very, very close in the points championship.
Yeah, this was tight coming into the weekend. I mean, it was only 65 points separating. Actually, 65 points separating the top 5. Well, Tristan Murphy didn't end up racing, so that made it 4 drivers within that mark. And Romero, who was leading the championship coming into the weekend, leading after his victory on Saturday, but a 22nd in the pre-final and a 21st in the final on Sunday, just with not enough points to be able to contend. Probably needed to finish within the top 5 to even come close to trying and taking the title.
Shout out to Bronston Kustis on the energy, up at 18 spots. Your hard charger 29th to 11th. But one thing just to cap things off here, David, with the mini Swift class, we've been watching Lucas Palacio over the last couple of years, right? Coming in as a really young driver in the micro category, was able to get a podium, I believe, in SCUSA competition. Just 9 years of age to win this championship in the mini Swift class. You think about that. He's a mini right now, and he's 3 years from being able to essentially run in a junior category. So this kid could win a couple of championships here before he moves up.
Yeah, hopefully he has a growth spurt as well too. Because
no doubt.
It's good. As much as we talked about Harvick being able to fit in one full size kart, it's going to be tough to get Palacio in one if he doesn't get a couple inches in there. But yeah, the very calculated driver again. Calm, collected. Just knows where to make the right moves and keep it clean and get himself forward. So it'll be interesting to see how he does next year, with a championship already under his belt. And if he's able to just, essentially take his driving to the next level, be more dominant and put himself, in the lead every single race that he's at.
Exactly that. Yeah. Let's go to Micro Swift right now, presented by Superkarts Racing USA. We'll cap off things here for the race report. Here's the headline for Micro Swift. Macha secures title with victory as Garciarces earns second win of season.
The micro division was really good this weekend. We had a lot of drivers kind of shuffling it up at the front. I think the progression of the year, some of these kids are getting a little bit quicker, a little bit more confident. So it's great to see a lot of battling for the victory, because that's what it was. We had Liam, I can never say his name. Nachawati. Thank you. Yep. Top qualifier, Maxwell Macha, coming in as the championship leader, winning the pre-final. He was among the many drivers that were in the group for the lead pack on the last lap. Macha able to get his way up to the front and cross the line first by 97 thousandths ahead of Josh Bergman. So Superkarts 1-2 finish. Grayson Walcott ended up finishing third. So I think this is his first SCUSA Pro Tour podium as well. So
he was a kind of a new arrival, let's put it this way, to the top 5, right? He was kind of in the fight all weekend long. So a good breakthrough weekend for Grayson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Colton Schniegenberg on the energy in 4th, and then Zane Burgess. So Superkarts 3 in the top 5.
Yeah, they were running 1, 2, 3 at a time. Zane Burgess, I want to say he qualified on the front row for the main event. He was at the start of the Saturday event, if I recall. Zane got spun around going into turn 1 on the very start, right? And did a 360 and continued on. There was a bunch of chaos behind him, but Zane was able to fight back for P5, having fallen deeper. Might have been even outside the top 10, but a great job for Zane to come back. Remember that spin in turn 1?
Lap 10, fell back to 7th, got himself up into 5th.
There you go. Yeah. A hard charger was Garciarces on the parallel, up 14 spots after a pre-final wreck. He starts 22nd and ends up in 8th. Little shakeup, though, on Sunday morning. Asher Ferris laid down the fast lap of the race. That took people off guard. Good lap there for Asher.
Yeah, I don't think Asher actually ran on Saturday.
He didn't run on Saturday, yeah.
So kind of came in with, I don't know if they had, new tires or what, but he was able to utilize a qualifying session to his advantage. Started on the front row for the pre-final, but just kind of kept slipping away as the racing went on. Obviously not having a full days of racing experience under his belt. So certainly slipped his way. I think he ended up finishing 13th in the main event.
Okay, there you go.
But Maxwell Macha was came away with a pre-final win, and again a great battle all race long with these micro drivers. A lot of different lead changes. In the end, it was a last lap move with Juan Diego Garciares leading only the last lap, was able to put himself into the lead with a few corners remaining. And, they said on social media, he was in a wreck on Saturday in the pre-final and then won the main event on Sunday. So certainly an up and down weekend for Garciares to pick up his first SCUSA Pro Tour victory, or second Pro Tour victory.
Yeah, and I mentioned how Grayson Wolcott breakthrough weekend, no doubt about it, second place on Sunday in the final. Macha ends up third to win the championship. It was close in the championship battle, but his third position got the job done, although I think was a provisional winner on Saturday as well.
Yes, provisional, yeah.
So he already had it locked. 121 points end up being the gap between Macha and Garciares, first and second in points. Bergman makes it 2 Sodi Kart drivers in the top 3 in the championship points. Bergman finished fourth on Sunday. Liam Nachawati on the Paralympic was P5. He also was the hard charger. He had started 15th after some contact on the last lap of the pre-final. He works his way to 5th on Sunday. That caps off the race report brought to you by Blaze Coaching. One more break, folks. When we get back, we'll wrap things up. We'll look at the Constructors' Championship for both the weekend's races and the overall titles, and we'll look at our EKN Trackside Live race calendar as well. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, SummerNationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlison Performance Group. We race to win. For over 20 years, Greg Bell has been building race-winning power for kart racers. One need only look at his team, Leading Edge Motorsports. He's always built engines for his team, and the results have been wins at the biggest races in America, the SCUSA SuperNationals and the Rock Vegas events. The name on this program? Mega Power. This year alone, Bell and Danny Formel teamed up to sweep the Rock Shifter class on the Florida Winter Tour, all on a Mega Power engine. If you want to win shifter kart races, it's time to put Mega Power on your kart. Mega Power specializes in gearbox engines, such as the TMKZ, Rock Shifter, and IAME Shifter, but with almost 3 decades of engine building experience, Bell develops winning motors for X30 and Mini Swift and everything in between. The combination of Greg Bell's engine building skills and his chassis tuning knowledge is a potent mixture. Greg's helped catapult many drivers to wins over the years, including Mercedes F1 star George Russell, who won the SuperNats 14 in 2011 with Leading Edge Motorsports. Increase your odds of winning at this year's Rock Vegas or SuperNational events or throughout 2023 by calling Greg Bell today at 209-747-2613 to put Mega Power in your corner. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready for the 2022 season with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. CRG Nordam is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Houston, Texas, CRG Nordam supports CRG dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. The CRG KT5 is our new chassis for tag and shifter racing, and it's been designed specifically for the US market. The KT5 features 30mm construction with a 32mm front loop to increase front grip. CRG's new Ben 13 brake system is cutting-edge technology with a master cylinder that allows for pressure regulation within the system. drivers can customize brake pressure to their own requirements to improve feel and to avoid brake lockup. The kart is finished with new KG 507, 508 bodywork that has refined aerodynamics and reduced weight. For cadet drivers, the 2022 CRG Black Mirror is already logging positive results to start the new season. This chassis will be making big waves in 2022. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. With 4-cycle racing enjoying consistent growth in North America, CRG's FS4 chassis is the ideal choice for racers in Briggs & Stratton competition. From pure racing to karting entertainment, many tracks, both indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the CRG Centurion rental kart line. 5 different models for both gas-powered or electric engines can fit any track's needs for a new rental kart fleet. CRG Nordam has a full inventory of rental karts available for new and existing facilities. For more information on the CRG product line, head to www.kartcrg.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrg-nordam.com. All right, time to cap off this edition of the EKN Debrief, episode 115, where we'll wrap up our review of the Superkarts USA Summer Nationals from Newcastle Motorsports Park, the final round of the Pro Tour for 2023. My name is Rob Howden, joined, of course, by David Cole. David, let's wrap things up. There have been a lot of races over the years in Pro Tour where we didn't have any red flags. There were a couple on this one here, 3 red flags all told. All the drivers, though, checked out with no major injuries.
Yeah, that was the major positive of the weekend, was no major injuries after the 3 red flags we did have. The Micro Swift one that we just talked about, excuse me, the Pro Shifter red flag in the pre-final on Sunday with Andy Rule and Justin White, and then the one in KA100 Junior in the main event on Sunday with Nick Eggleston coming back and with a sore back. So that's a good positive thing, even though we did have those red flags, which we don't want to see. Everybody was okay.
Pretty nasty weather to a certain extent. We had some blue skies on Sunday, but we had that crazy storm coming through on Friday night that really wreaked havoc a little bit. And to be honest, I don't think it really should come as any surprise. You can get rain coming through. It's hot, humid Indiana summers. Sometimes we get horrible rain. We've had damage in the paddock before as well. It's a tough one for sure. It just kind of, the nature of the weather in Indiana in the summer.
It's July in Newcastle. I mean, it just sucks sometimes.
It just sucks sometimes.
I mean, because now, the humidity's gone. Now, I'm in Michigan, so it's only 4 hours away. So we get essentially the same type of weather, but it just, some reason we just caught it at the bad time. Because like I kept telling everybody there in the paddock who don't live in the area, it hasn't been this bad all summer long. And it just happened to be this weekend while we were at Newcastle, where there's no shade. Most of the time there was no wind, but when there was wind, it at least helped cool the bodies down for the humidity.
Let's be real. Sometimes you're going to get lucky with weather. Sometimes you're not. I remember I was at the Texas PKC race at Amarillo a couple of years ago, where I was announcing outside. I was under an easy up, but it was 106 degrees. Literally the day I left on Monday, it was 85. Right. And then we did the weekend, the other one. I did the Track Magic rally last year up at Prairie City. It was 114 degrees on Thursday and fell down to like 90 something, low 90s, I think it was, on the weekend when we were racing. So sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. Right. So it's
kind of like racing.
That's it. Very true. Speaking of racing, personally, I think, man, there was just some great racing in all the categories. I mentioned at the very top how good the battling was in the Master Shifter class. We saw some tremendous racing, I think, in the Pro Shifters, all across the board. And you mentioned at the end of the last race report section how good the micro racing was too. It was just, I love Newcastle for that. There are so many places to overtake. It still is hard to put down a good lap. So I just think there's so much of part of the equation that just makes this place just really raceable.
Yeah, out of the 18 main events we had, I think we only had like 4 that were, not within a second of the top 2 drivers finishing. So, you had, unfortunately, AJ Myers dominated things in Pro Shifter, and we had Harley Keeble with a dominating performance on Sunday in KA100 Junior. And then I think Turney on Saturday in X30 Pro or X30 Senior. I think those were only 4 really kind of standout breakaway wins that we had. The rest went down to the wire.
Yeah, I know I was involved in a couple of great races too. It's just a fun place to race. Let's speaking of races, let's have a look at the Constructors Championship. 10 brands, David, winning all told over the 18 events on the weekend. Let's have a look at who was able to walk away, which brands scored victory at the Summer Nationals.
Well, we had 3 chassis brands with 3 victories of their own. Kart Republic, Sodi Kart, and Cosmic winning 3 on the weekend. Factory Kart and Magic Kart picking up 2 each. John Crow taking the factory karts and AJ Myers picking up the Magic Kart victories. And then 1 across the board for Red Speed, Gillard, Top Kart, Bannock, and Parolin.
And interesting, when we go a little deeper into it and look at the actual titles, the championships themselves, 6 different brands winning or splitting the 9 championships on this year's SCUSA Pro Tour.
Yeah, Kart Republic going big. 4 championships for them with Turney, Levy. What am I missing? Oh, Stephen Miller and Palacio. So a big performance for them. So kind of a standout season for Kart Republic brand here in the USA. Burrell Art, Cosmic, Sodi Kart, Factory Kart, and Magic Kart all picking up championships of their own. So again, a good diversity there aside from the 4 with Kart Republic, but again, 6 out of 9. That's good to have a good diversity.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And again, Kart Republic has become one of the major players, no doubt about it, in national level racing here in the U.S. That is for sure. Let's wrap things up with the EKN Trackside Live race calendar presented today by MG Tires. No matter your compound preference, MG Tires USA has you covered. MG Tires are the official spec tire in the United States Pro Kart Series, Route 66 Sprint Series, Sunshine State Karting Challenge, and countless clubs across the country. Whether it's the medium SH Red, the soft SM Yellow, the super soft green SS, or the intermediate white IZ, MG Tires USA has your winning set of rubber in stock. MG Tires for the drivers. All right, David, looking at these couple of races you've got lined up here, it's interesting because these are all you. I think my next trackside event is mid-September when we head back to Newcastle for the Race Rotax US Trophy Final. You've got a couple coming up here to cap off August and start September.
Yeah, the United States Pro Kart Series will host its 4th round of the 2023 championship heading for the first time to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati in Batavia, Ohio. So a lot of people are going to be making their first visit, if they don't test already, to the MCC facility. It'll be my first time there. I know it's been on the bucket list for a long time. Sean Bailiff has been hounding us to get down there. So now, since it's within driving distance, I'll probably bring my gear in case I can jump in a cart.
We'll make that happen.
So we'll do that, even if it's a rental. I already talked with Finnegan and Gavin. He goes, "We got rentals. We can pop you in." So, Perfect. So we'll be doing that. So it'll be interesting. We just saw on Instagram yesterday and today they're actually paid. They just put down cement to do a pre-grid section. So everybody that is waiting to get onto the grid area will have an area. So they'll have an actual pre-grid area. Don't think it's going to be covered. We'll wait and see. Maybe they'll surprise us and have some covering built up before we get there. But at least an area. In the paddock area, which looks to be amazing. It's expanded, lots of room. Going to have probably well over 200 entries again for the weekend, and the surface recently repaved as well. I believe was it at the end of last year or early this year? I can't remember.
I think I don't know. I'm busy looking at that Instagram thing you just talked about.
Oh yeah.
Dude, this place looks so cool.
Yeah, and they're continuing to make it better and better and better. So really looking forward to. So we'll have, once we get down there, we'll have a full kind of paddock insider of exactly what they've done.
That's amazing.
And all the hours that they put into to making it ready for this race.
Would you expect anything else from the bailiffs?
No,
never. Class acts, start to finish. Yeah, fantastic.
Without a doubt. Yeah. So looking forward to getting down there, seeing their home. And then seeing firsthand how the track races. And, we talked with Nate Dean, our colleague. He likes that facility. He was down there for the Cup Karts race. So that was with the Briggs. So it'll be, we'll see firsthand with shifter carts and all the IME categories for USBKS.
So after that weekend, David, you're home for a couple of days and you're back on the road for yet another trip. You know, for the longest time there, I'd been to way more Rock Islands than you, but I think I'm not sure when you surpassed me, but what for you, the Rock Island Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen, coming up on Labor Day weekend, September 2nd to 3rd. What is this for you for a badass, cool street race?
Well, it's a second home next to Newcastle.
What number is this for you?
This is I'm doing the math right now. This will be my 19th time.
Wow.
So
I think I did 14 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, right? 13 or 14.
When'd you first start going?
I think my first one was 98.
98.
98.
So,
yeah, I think it was 98. Or maybe 99. Maybe 99.
Okay. Either.
And I went to at least 12 or 13, if I'm not mistaken.
So I think you stopped in, was it 2016 that you stopped?
So I may be at 16 or 17 too then.
Yeah. So you're up there, but I got you beat. Yeah.
You got me beat.
I got you.
So let's talk about it. Back to the Rock.
And I've raced there more than you as well too.
How many times did you race there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times.
Oh, you kicked my ass. Yeah. I think I'm 6 or 7.
Well, plus I have better results than you too.
You do not have better results than me. What's your best result there? There's no way.
I know my best result is 4th. I know you got
exactly. Well, no, I did finish 3rd one. No, I finished 4th. I finished 4th that year too.
What? I thought you were 3rd.
No, I think Jeff Scott and Jasperson got me.
Okay, you talk about the event. I'm going to look this up. Hold
on. Indeed, the Rock Island Grand Prix, folks. It's a fantastic street race. If you've never done it, it's a bucket list race. The atmosphere is super cool, relaxed. There's a couple great restaurants in town. The hotel's right there. It's just a really cool event to go to. I've talked to a lot of people that haven't done it yet. In fact, I was talking to a couple other guys that were like, I really got to do that race. I'm like, well, if you don't want to haul all your stuff out, hook up with Margay, get in the Ignite program, do their arrive and drive. You fly in, everything's there for you. Your cart's all there. Do the arrive and drive for Margay Ignite at Rock Island. If it's something, if you've never done it before, because it's such a great race to do for sure. Dude,
yeah, you did finish 4th.
I did finish 4th. Yeah, they got me in the last lap. Again, at least
Jasperson and Scott both got me.
They both drafted by me because I didn't block like I did on Santiago at Alfonso this past weekend. I thought I was fine. I rolled into turn 1. I qualified off pole with Tony Nielsen. We had the right gear on. I was gonna. Oh man, I thought I had it rock and roll, but
Al Cram was 71 that year. Because he ran number 71. He finished 7th.
Yeah, one of the legends of Rock Island for sure. No, that's again. At least I've driven a shifter there. You haven't.
Yeah, and I've toyed with that idea. I have. I really have.
Oh yeah.
I need more seat time. I need more seat time to be able to do that.
I drove a shifter, I think, at least twice there, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, but that was what, 2003, 2004?
I was not 54. I think I was 34 back then. That's right.
Yeah, see, I'm 44, so it's a little different.
It is. All right, folks, there's your EKN Trackside Live race calendar. David Cole's going to the USBKS race August 25th to the 27th at Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Follow it back up with another trip to the Rock Island Grand Prix. If you haven't been there before, make sure you get it done. It's a bucket list race, I'm telling you. David, that wraps things up for this edition of the Debrief as we went deep on the Superkarts USA Summer Nationals. Any other final thoughts, or do we wrap this one up?
Yeah, Superkarts USA done with their championship, 14th season, 15th coming up in 2024. Should be interesting because it's going to be different. What is it? May, June, July is their schedule.
Something like that,
yeah. So it's going to be bam, bam, bam with that. Interesting, different, unique take on it. So going into the 15th season, but of course, Superkarts USA Pro Tour or Superkarts USA Super Nationals 26 before that when in November.
That's it. Focusing on that one, folks. Less than 100 days from the Super Nationals. Hopefully everybody will be there. It's going to be a big one. Thank you so much for tuning into this edition of the Debrief, folks. We do appreciate it. Great weekend at Newcastle for the Superkarts USA Summer Nats, wrapping up the 14th edition, as David said, of the Pro Tour. Thank you so much for, again, tuning into this one, folks, and all of our podcasts. Lots more to come. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.